It's okay. It's a hidden weakness in a person's character that becomes visible when pressure comes. So one of the things that we talk about, and one of the pressures that come, is us talking about lynching. Most of us have zero evidence about lynching. We haven't been there. We don't know actually what happened. We take something, but this is what we actually believe. Now, this is fault lines of character. It may include pride, dishonesty, bitterness. It could include greed, lack of self-control, unforgiveness, or unwillingness to accept correction. A lot of people, I don't care what ethnic group you are, we all need correction, right? We just talked about the geographical fault lines, about other countries, geopolitics. They may remain unnoticed until stress, conflict, money, power, and adversity exposes them. Okay, this is what happens. No one wants to talk about this. Strong moral character does not mean having no fault lines. It means recognizing them, taking responsibility for them, and strengthening them through truth, humility, discipline, integrity, and accountability. Character is revealed under pressure. Pressure does not always create the fault. It often exposes what's already there. I think that a lot of times we hear, this is a white country. Oh, we don't like this. We don't like that. We don't like the fact that someone's reading to our kids about gender. Listen, there's no such thing as gender affirming care. Okay, that's a fault line that's been pushing us. Men cannot get pregnant. Yes, I'm saying these things. Why? Because these are things that we look at. When I look at fault lines, I'm looking at something completely different. And Cypher and Kong, I want you guys to have a reasonable conversation about things that you know about, not things that we project. And if someone got lynched, quote unquote lynched, I think there'd be a lot more evidence because, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in 89 years in the United States, there was 5,300 and something lynchings. Most people will never tell you that 1,700 of them were people that do not look like black people. They were white.
Oh, fuck you, old ass tune, Uncle Tom. Fuck them crackers, kill white.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Pepe. Okay, so hold on a second. Let me just finish. I'm going to land here, guys, because I just want us all to do this. Just because something happened to another person that looked like me doesn't mean they were trying to do it to me. Okay? I don't know why we all think that something happens in one group should always be for everybody. I don't believe in groupthink, guys. And I've learned this a long time ago. Groupthink is dangerous. And I'll land on this. This is what my dad taught me and my grandpa taught me. If you want to be successful in life, you're going to do that most of the time by yourself. If you want to fail in life, you will do it in a group. Okay, so Cypher, please finish, and then Kong, you can respond. But guys, be kind in conversation and attack each other's points, not each other.
Gotcha. I'll be kind to good people. How about that? So you're right. There from 1882 to 1968, 4,743 reported lynchings were Black Americans. Civil rights organizations have documented over 70 suspected modern day lynchings of Black individuals in the Deep South since 2000. The areas are states including Mississippi, Georgia, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Tennessee, and Alabama. And I don't think that it ever went away. You see, I think racism is the personification of ignorance and fear. And it's a system that Europeans created and, air quote, perfected, although it also adversely affects poor whites as well. So there's spillage. What I've come to understand is that there's a need for dissonance when it comes to the subject matter for those that were raised in such a household or in proximity to those that they orbit around that they perceive as being powerful. And it's also a reflection of a discombobulated moral compass, right? And the way I see it is, hey, I understand that not everybody that's found hanging was lynched. Granted that. Uh, Typically in the black community, most killings or self unalivings are not through hanging, but it can and it does happen. What we do know though is in lynchings and in racial murders, like where's racism in murders, you're talking about people being hung, set on fire, mutilated, and every other dastardly, unhumane thing you could think of. And since this is an invention and system that these people created, I think it's up to them to fix and for us to protect ourselves against by responding in kind. And what that looks like is if you kill one of mine, I will kill all of yours until you unalive yourself. It's not about being fair, it's about being brutally fucking reactive. So much to the point that people would think a billion times before they even attempt that shit. And I think it's warranted. I'll pause right there.
For your submission, let me just greet the two people that I like. Othello.
Can I go next? I was going to go next.
Okay, King. I'm going to let you go next. I said, let me greet the two people that just came on the platform. That's all. Othello, welcome.
What's going
and
on?
Black Girl. Oh, man, just trying to have this fault line conversation, which is kind of, wait, Black Girl, she already got me in the chat, but we're going to have a convo. Okay, King, go ahead, King.
Hey, now, just for the record, I put him on the timer. We got about 2 minutes, right? So I'm gonna say this, nigga, the year is 2020. By the time you was born, you didn't even know the niggas that was enslaved. And even by the way, the niggas that got to America through slavery were sold by the niggas in Africa. And guess what? The niggas in Africa that became slaves because they lost. What is my point? Bring it back to 2026. Before I do that, I'm gonna bring it back to 1985. I was born in 1985. I hit the ground and started flying. You niggas complaining about slavery. What are you niggas getting complaining about? You niggas, I bet you got a house and a car and all that shit. Nigga, you ain't a slave, nigga. You a regular American citizen, nigga. You complaining about some shit that happened back in the motherfucking day, nigga. You complain about white supremacy. Nigga, shut the fuck up, nigga. Go out here and get you some money, nigga. And that's all. I yield the floor back to this nigga.
Okay.
No, Cypher. No, Cypher. It's okay. We don't need to respond. It's okay. I'm 1 second. It's okay. I'm going to let you go after because I want to hear Othello or I want to hear Black
for
Girl.
sure. Yeah, I get off the way for that, for sure.
Yeah. I just want to hear someone else's voice, but you can just hold that. Okay, Mr. Othello, you want to share anything before I get to Black Girl?
No, I'm gonna get in the flow of the convo, and I'm gonna turn my mind to figuring out what exactly fault lines are. I need to hear a little bit more about it, so I'll let Black Girl go.
Let me give you the definition because everybody keep coming up. It's a fault line can be described as a hidden weakness in a person's character that becomes visible when pressure comes. Like when someone mentioned black or slavery or Africa or the transatlantic slave trade. These are things that, bring stuff out of people because I think a lot of people lead with their ethnicity or their gender or whatever before they ever leave their character. That's just the definition of what we're using as fault line. That's all.
This is Edward. This is Progressive. If you could put me in your queue.
Progressive, good to see you. All right, Miss Black Girl, you're up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't really understand fault lines. Are you saying if somebody meant something to do with race, that somebody always has a comeback? What again? Sorry, my ears were closed.
Someone to start talking about ethnic groups or disadvantage or the word privilege or gender, all these different things. Okay, so we get these pressures and it brings out of us our own personal fault lines, even politics. People ask me this. One second. People ask me this all the time. Why are you conservative? Well, because I had a choice. I get to choose that. But if I say to you that I'm pro-human, because I think there's only one race, different ethnic groups, and people have to be personally responsible for each other, that's what I mean by fault lines. These are things that give people earthquakes at night, or give them earthquakes because instead of them looking at reality, that means each individual generation made choices that none of us had the opportunity to help. They chose those things. We didn't get to choose them. And why should Edward blame another generation on their behavior when no one's holding me accountable on my behavior? That's what I mean by that, Black girl.
Okay, thank you. The next person can speak.
I just have a question, Evan, for clarification. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead for clarification, Moose. I'm sorry, I just wanted to get the progressive because he wanted to talk.
Yeah, no, all good. Appreciate it. I'm good. I'll keep it short. Good modding too, by the way. So someone pointed in chat, Kima pointed in chat that, so first of all, the first premise, right? As I understand what the argument is. So vernacular is important. So when you're saying fault lines, you're saying, in other words, things that tend to be our Achilles heel, our trigger, if you will, right? Using the Clubhouse vernacular, getting triggered, and then thus seeing something through one lens. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, like somebody in the chat decided to say that because I only gave examples, and the only reason I gave that examples because someone made a comment about blacks on the stage, and I was using that as an illustration. But I also used other illustrations earlier today about race in general. But most people today, you know what they want to do? Again, they want to focus on how many times something was stated versus listening to all of the other things we call fault lines. We talked about Iran for almost 30 minutes, 40 minutes. No one talked about that. We talked about America being involved. There you go. I like that. But listen, I'm pro-America. I'm pro-life, but I'm pro-responsibility. I don't care what ethnic group you are. You're either a person of character or you're being a character. Go ahead, Progressive, and then Cypher, you can jump.
Yeah, projection on this app primarily comes in the form of ad hominem projection, which is attacking somebody via mocking them or insulting them. But a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times the projection is actually your subconscious reflection of your own self-esteem issues. So I like to say, hold up a mirror to that projection when people project onto me, Progressive. And I just want to read a quote by Samuel the Younger, who said, "When your enemy falls, do not rejoice. When your enemy stumbles, do not be glad. Your glee will corrupt you. Your ego will trick you into thinking that you are different from him. You will excuse your evil, and your fate will be as hers. One who rejoices at another's hurt is an enemy of all."
Bro, so please, let's keep it moving, okay? Thanks. Go ahead, finish, Progressive. Are you done? You landed? Have you landed, Progressive?
Progressive, I like that quote. It was getting good. You were saying.
All right. Randy, we try to have some decorum.
15% off my car insurance, Progressive.
All right, thanks. All right, let's go to Cypher. Cypher, you ready?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the gentleman that interrupted earlier to say very few things.
You mean me?
No, not you, sir. You didn't interrupt me. The individual that the Coon guy, King Coon, or whatever his name is, that interrupted earlier in my submission. I named a myriad of different fault lines. And then I only went to the one aspect to expound upon it in a solutions manner. And I never got a chance to really land it because he came up to say nothing. It doesn't matter what I experienced, right? Like I believe in epigenetic trauma, and I believe that it works both ways. I believe that a victim and an oppressor also have two different fundamentally mental health issues that, if not addressed, can be passed down to their children. And because we see it reflected in society today, there's a lot of unaddressed issues that have permeated throughout history that needs to be addressed. One of the ways I stated to do so, of course, is to respond in such a visual way that, a person or a group of people would think a billion times before, lynching or doing those things now. Unfortunately, we don't live in a world where common sense is normal. We've adopted a certain mentality that is, I believe, below human in a sense. And when I say we, I mean the people that perpetrate these type of things. It doesn't include me or anybody on the stage that isn't guilty of it. But we live in a society where we're making excuses for behaviors that do impact families, communities. You know, race is a construct. I believe more like Edward. I'm a humanist, but I am for the best interest of my ethnic group, right? Because they do need the help. And when we're in a better position, I believe the world benefits. I've seen it happen. That being said, our fault lines, which I believe is a great word in terms of how the expression is used here on the stage by Edward. I think how to shore up our fault lines comes through a series of education, self-confidence, and knowing oneself, right? So if I know who I am and what I am, I think my only fault line in that case is the audacity of a lesser being. So a lesser human that I don't respect and their audacity can be triggering to me because I'm like, well, you can call me a monkey and a nigger, but you believe that you come from a monkey. You know what I'm saying? And a nigger is, if you go back to the etymology of it, is actually a better person than what they are. So, I'm not easily offended, but I understand that we have fatigue when it comes to ignorance. And that's my...
To the matrix. So, anyone else, Moose, or anyone else want to share? Okay. You guys are giving me much more opportunity to share with you some other quotes on fault line. Is anyone getting anything out of this? Why don't some of you share? What do you guys think of this title? We're going to have a couple more series of this. This one is just on the character of the person. We're going to do one on fault lines of political views. Why are you who you are from a political viewpoint? Some of you don't vote at all. Is that a fault line that you don't want to participate in the actual process? You don't think your vote counts. Is there a fault line of cheating? People do these things. I'm just asking questions because I want to know really what's driving most of us and why is this thing that we have. Some of us may not realize this. Self-governance is very, very important, right? I learned this when I was probably in elementary school, when we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands. Doesn't say democracy. One nation under God, even though a lot of people don't want to put God there, but he is. But it's under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I personally believe that for a lot of people in America, that's a fault line. They don't want God involved in anything. In all, for me, God is a principle. That's all. Principles are important. And I don't know why people would think that God should not be in the public square, in every area of life, so that people can actually be challenged with the standard. And to me, the power of self-awareness is important. Understanding self-governance is important. And I like what Cypher said earlier. Okay, listen, guys. Number one, I know that I'm not a monkey and I know that I'm an N-word. So I'm not going to give anybody any power over stuff that they use with words. Okay, I'm 63 years old. I learned a long time ago. And like my father and my grandfather said, being a man of honor or a woman of dignity is much more important than you trying to retaliate or get back at somebody because they called you, quote unquote, a name. Okay. Yeah, it could be black girl. It could be triggering if people want to say that. But for me, it's not triggering because I know I'm not that. So I'm not going to highlight it. And unfortunately, most people today, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, is this a fault line that we allow things in one community of people But yet, when someone else uses it, we think it's not good. But we think it's an endearing conversation. And I'm telling you, it's a fault line. Another one, I was in another space today about single mothers and their disadvantages. Okay, is this a fault line that most people don't want to discuss and talk about? Because these are real fault line guys.
Edward, I forgot to mention relationships, right? That's another subject that will probably have a lot of fault lines in it, right? Too. I don't know if have you ever done that one yet with this?
Oh, I've done it.
I wanted to add something.
1 second, Barbara.
Okay.
I'll let you. I done that, Matt, and you know what we call that? Male headship, the patriarchy, and you know what kind of stuff I get pushed back on, and honoring oneself. When someone says to Edward, "Oh, I've had a lot of body," well, that's okay, but the fault line is this: what have you done to another man's daughter, or what have you done to another man's son, or vice versa? No one talks about this because we think activity brings productivity. But yet, if I look around the fault lines, and now it's someone's fault, and you've heard me say this before, there's the ideal, then there's an ordeal, then they say, let's make a deal. This is what people do every day, right? Somebody may look good, but they may not be good for you. So, yeah, we could do the fault line on relationships too. I think that would be a very interesting conversation. So go ahead, Marimo. Go.
So it's not associated with the fault line in relationship. Just I wanted to mention the schema therapy that is related to the fault lines. I think it's directly related to that. Because as I said at the first, I believe that our weaknesses are identified and defined in relation to the values of the society that we are living in. So this is something that I experienced myself, that some of the things I used to see as my weaknesses in myself turn to strengths in a new society because they believe in a different way. So, for myself, my experience, schema therapy that shows your roots of your fight lines, and you dig your past and your childhood to find the reasons of that. It's a really good solution, maybe, to get rid of those fight lines that hurts you. And because in this way, the psychologists just dig your childhood. They find even maybe some simple accident that happens for you, and that makes you to feel something as your fault lines. And this worked for me, so I wanted to share it.
Well, I like that. That's very good. Okay. Wallace Smith, welcome to the platform. I'm going to give you guys a couple things. How many fault lines do we typically have? That's a question, right? There's no fixed number, okay? The more complex, morally nuances, everybody has them, right? We have all different kind of moral nuances. An aspiration for your life, right? The more fault lines you likely carry. But here are some rough categories that you can spot, right? Emotional, or what we call impulse fault lines. I see that a lot on Clubhouse. When anger wants to lash out, but your values call for patience. Value system, right? When fear wants to shrink, but your value calls for courage. That's a word that I don't hear often on Clubhouse neither. Temporary fault line, present or future. Like you see people who don't have any moral character, they jump everything. No matter what the title is, they're going to jump on it because they don't have it's a temporary fault line. You know, I'm going to support this group because that's the group that's going off right now. I'm going to support that group, where they don't really have that. What I call short-term comfort versus long-term discipline. A lot of people have that. I'd rather have long-term discipline because it helps me. Also, this is very important for all of us in 2026. Immediate gratification versus investment for later. A A lot of people don't want to do that. Okay, too many people today just get carried away because they don't believe in long-term investment for later. Here's another one: rationale. This is a show fault line. Being liked versus telling the truth. You guys don't have to like Edward. Edward likes Edward. Okay, Edward knows who he is. He doesn't care. I want you to like me, but if you don't, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it because I'm gonna tell you the truth. Whether you like it, like I tell my kids all the time, my grandbaby, you never have to worry about me not telling you the truth. Truth is important. You got to always know that. Okay. What about this one? Am I fitting in, or am I being authentic? So many people don't want to be authentic. They want to just fit in. I'm not fitting in. Some people say to me, "You're condescending." No, I'm not condescending. That's how you hear stuff. The reason why a lot of people don't know what confidence looks like. Okay. And why would you tell a person who's speaking to anyone that they're being condescending? My dad also taught me this. You guys correct me. Do we get offended or do we take offense? Just ask that question of yourself. I don't get offended, and I'm not going to take your offense because I learned a long time ago. That's temporary, right? What about this? Self-identity. Coherence fault line. This is self-identity coherence. What you believe about yourself versus how you actually act. That's a heavy one right there, guys. What do you actually believe about yourself? When you look in the mirror, what do you see? That's a hard one right there. In total stories versus your behavior. Okay? What's your behavior every day outside of Clubhouse? This is the shadow. Unconscious fault lines. Internal voices you haven't interrogated. You have voices inside of you. Do I want to be a good man? Do I want to be a good husband? Do I want to be a good father? Do I want to do what's right every day in society? That's an internal voice that all of us have to deal with, right? Unexamined drivers, or belief that conflicts with stated values. See, like I tell people all the time, I've never tasted alcohol, not because I can't. I can actually buy the liquor store, the whole store itself. But because I value life so much that I don't want to miss out by being faded. It's just Edward. That's all. And then energetic or psychological fault line. When physical fatigue, stress, and emotion overrides higher aspiration. How many of us come here? You might have a dozen micro level fault line. Every moment you make a choice that contradicts something, you see your value. But a macro level, so you got micro and macro level, you can group them into things like emotion versus value, short-term versus long-term, social versus personal. I am 100% personally responsible for the outcome of my life. I can't blame anybody. So those are some fault lines I wanted to give you. The next one we talk about soon is why self-governance? Why self-governance? Why should I govern myself? Why should I come on here and treat you with respect by not calling you out of your name? Even if you make a point, that's your point. It's okay. I'm good with it. I learn from other people. And sometimes I hear people say, well, why do you go on these different apps? You know why? Because I learned how not to live. I land.
So I wanted to go back on what you said about 5 minutes ago. Maybe it was 3 minutes. You talked about the N-word. You said it doesn't bother you. And what else did you say? Because other cultures, we use it, but other cultures can use it and it shouldn't mean anything. Or did I get that wrong?
You didn't get it wrong. So Black girl, let's have a conversation and a dialogue. Do you believe that the use of that word is important to anyone?
I mean, I don't really know, but I could tell you this.
Fair.
It was used, I don't like the word. I was not, my mom did not raise me to use that type of vocabulary. I know it is in the Black culture and it resonates different in the Black culture. However, when other cultures use it, they're using it to be derogatory, okay? And my daughter that word got used towards her in school, and it hurts very much because my daughter's hurting. Okay? So it comes from another place. So you may not have an issue with it or other cultures using it, but I do. What works for you may not work for me. It's disrespectful and it's out of line. And there's a person in this room who used it toward me, and it was very disrespectful.
Damn, who's that?
Oh, no. We're not going to do that, Presidential. We're not
It's
going to.
probably me, let's be honest.
No.
I thought you were going to say for your Pepe.
Yeah, it was you.
No.
Yeah, it was you. Yeah, and
It was who? Pepe?
I guess I just have one question, and I'm not trolling. Why on God's green earth do you people let a word give me so much power with the fucking word, where I only do it because of the reaction? You tell me there's this naughty word and I can't say it. It doesn't harm you, it doesn't take food out of your mouth, but you predictably you guys lose your fucking shit. And then you literally make asses out of yourself. Do you know the best thing you guys could do is shake your head and just be like, oh, pathetic. That's what you have to do to get attention? Wow, grow up.
Yeah, but Pepe, Black Girl, if I may, drama making is one of the forms of art. And so you have to come to Clown House and understand that even though really ugly, nasty people make art, that's what they're doing by using profane words. And words are not reality. So when Pepe says, you give me this power, it's his opinion, but you have to remember that Pepe is an artist. You're an artist. I'm up.
Thanks for muting him. Okay, first of all, guys, and Black Girl, I appreciate you bringing this particular thought line up. Okay, and you asked me a question, and I believe in inner leadership. Okay, it's crucial. Okay, for self-governance of oneself. Because we all know that this particular fault line always exists. And what I mean by that, the N-word is a fault line that's been around for a long time. It's always present. I don't care who's using it. It's always present. Okay? You don't get to live in a state of no tension.
But see, Edward, a fault line is just friction between tectonic plates. And you yourself are subjected to tectonic plates shifting.
That's tension, right? But watch this. What you choose and I choose matters. Okay? And I've been in many rooms with Pepe using all kinds of words, but I'm never going to let what Pepe say or anyone else say move me. It's never going to happen. Okay? And some of you, I can tell you right now, some of your language on these fault lines are way out of control. Okay? I don't want to hear black people talk about the word. I don't want to hear anybody talk about the word. You know why? Because I believe that our vocabulary is bad. We can have a whole much better conversation if we all talk to each other with kindness. But at the same time, I like what Progressive said. For me, going into Pepe's rooms in the past, that's performative, guys. You guys heard of Howard Stern's. There's things that have X. There's things that people get on things. I don't go to R-rated comedy clubs. You know why? Because I know they're going to be using vulgarity. So I've chosen not to do that. In moments of stress, fatigue, and emotional arousal, your governance system should kick in. Self-regulation, reflex discipline is what decides whether you crack under pressure or stay aligned with your values. Listen, I know that I'm not an N-word, and I know that I'm a monkey, and there's only one of Edward on the whole planet. 8.8 billion people on planet Earth, there's only one Edward, okay? And I don't care what anybody says. There's only one of me. My DNA, my fingerprints, only me. You can call me whatever you want. I know my mom named me Edward, so I'm cool. So that's where I come from it. And you guys can go off and call it. It's just crazy. But it's a pretty big fault line. So, Black Girl, thank you for sharing that. But over time, repeated lapses along this particular fault line erodes coherence. It erodes integrity and trust in yourself. That's how I see it, right?
It's not just about me, okay? It's about my daughter, okay? It's about my daughter being called that in school. So, hey, I could give a damn about these people on Clubhouse. But when you hurt my daughter, I got a problem. And then when I hear it, well, she's not old enough, okay?
Well, I was just wondering why you're making your daughter personal. Like,
I'm just wondering why you're interrupting.
What? I don't give a damn what you say.
Shut your racist hole. Let her finish.
But what does your daughter have to do with our conversation with us?
She's saying that her daughter experiences racist, vulgar, profane communication. And Moose here is having a trigger line. I think Moose has experiencing tectonic plate shifting, Edward.
Please, guys. So Black Girl was just sharing with you a submission about her daughter, whether her daughter's on Clubhouse or not. She's just sharing with you that she had a situation that happened in her life. Could we just hear her out first, guys, and stop attacking people just because you don't agree? So go ahead, Black.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, my goodness. I'm saying that experience not only affected her, it affected me. And so when I come around and I hear that word around me on here, you know, I get triggered. I get triggered because my daughter was hurting. You know, I had to send her to therapy because you could tell your children all day long, they're beautiful, I love you, don't listen to what other people say, but mentally have an effect, and that's what it did.
Well, Black Girl, where is your daughter's daddy? Where is the black daddy of the black woman's black daughter?
Well,
okay, so first of all, her dad has nothing to do with this, okay? Her dad does know and is aware of what happened, okay? I don't know why you would ask me that, John.
I apologize. I really do feel sorry for your daughter. I don't think she should feel any less of herself because she's born black or be made fun of. I'm against bullying. And look, I do say, I've said things on here for sure. And yes, I was a showman for like quite a while and I did a lot of raunchy shit. But I understand what you're saying, but like you also have to understand you have individuals that go back and forth. It's not me excusing my use of the word, but this is an app where people say nasty shit back and forth to each other all the time. And yes, I absolutely will dish out the N-word if you start taking too many digs at me and you're using race, I'll probably use that word. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, that we're all human.
But Pepe, the point is, Edward is a Christian man here leading a communication, because Edward does consulting with large groups and talks about crisis management, anger management. And so what we're really talking about here is psychology, how to be happy, how to be productive, how to live in abundance. And this is a good place for people to do healing work. Unfortunately, too many people use this app for profane communication, to get their jollies off, for short-term rocks, and they get a dopamine high from being a lawyer. And many of you have observed this for many, many years. Edward here again is a professional communicator. Matt is facilitating the space. And Edward, why don't you tell people what you communicate with young people about when you travel internationally and do, large group speaking?
Okay, listen, guys. I know that in President Trump's house, I'm just trying to bring a different conversation, okay? And why am I saying that? Because I believe that fault tolerance is important, okay? We all don't have to crash all the time and burn. We don't have to do that, guys or ladies. And listen, I agree with Black Girl, okay? If you come at my children, okay, or my family, we're going to have an issue. And I'm a believer. I love God with all my heart, but I promise you I'm going to protect my family and my children. I promise you that. Okay? Because I don't care what you think. At the end of the day, I'm the protector, provider, the priest and prophet of my home. But there's a whole lot of things I will tell you. You come at my children or my grandbaby, I promise you I will go to prison for life. Okay, and I will use the body bags at the funeral home to make sure that you are no longer on planet Earth. Okay, and I'm just tell you, most people think that believers don't have a backbone. No, we do have backbone. We're no believing punks, guys. We believe in also making sure that we stand our ground. Okay, I don't think that people should just go through and just say, "Oh, you're a believer. You love God." No, you can't just spit in people's face and think that you're not going to have someone retaliate. I also believe in the Second Amendment in America. You know why? Because you come in my home, I'm going to use steel, and you know what that means. It's not fake. Okay, so at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do for all of us, and the more you build the governance muscle, there's a governance muscle that we all have. The more your system has that fault tolerant strength, you can endure great stress without collapsing into reactive behavior. I see a lot of people on Clubhouse. And listen, this is the sad part. Some of you guys talk and you're standing on sinking sand. You have no foundation of what you actually believe and why you believe it. That's a major fault line. Because at the end of life, and I tell people this all the time, at the end of your life, what will people say about you and how you manage your life? Again, I'm going to read it one more time so everybody understands. What if our deepest problems are not material, but character? The solutions aren't more stuff, but who we become. Personal responsibility versus me being a victimhood, or dependency. These are things that I look at. And all of us do not need to call each other out of their name. And when people are having real issues, and Black girl talked about her daughter, you guys should respect the mother wanting to protect her daughter from the ills of a word that we all know is a actual fault line. We all know this. I don't know why we miss out on this, guys. Is there any decorum on Clubhouse at all where people can actually say, hey, I respect this. I respect that. She's talking about her child guy. This is not a fodder for us to say, well, why are you bringing her child? She has a right to talk whatever she wants.
Yeah, but Edward, people come here in an unrestricted way. The fact is it's free. So nobody's paying to be here. And the truth is nobody's paying to listen to you.
I think he's not taking this serious.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to point out that Pepe did acknowledge that he doesn't care for the word, or he doesn't want to use it when he doesn't have to. Obviously, you know what I mean. So I just want to let you.
I never have to be fair. I choose.
Yeah, you usually you're counter punching most of the time. I got you. Yeah.
The problem I have with what she said wasn't that I'm talking to her daughter. Was that she's relating people saying the N-word on Clubhouse to someone calling her daughter the N-word, and it's not the same.
So
There's no reason to bring that into the conversation because nobody has done that to your daughter.
Hold on, can I? Okay, so what I heard is that it was not on Clubhouse, but this was said to her daughter because her daughter is too young to use Clubhouse. Now, in that case, a child, that is absolutely heartbreaking. I'm sorry, but that happened. A child. It's so we're all adults. We have made a decision to be on this app. We have made a decision to be in this room, which can be impolite sometimes. People can say some very inappropriate things that we wish they wouldn't say. A child.
Can I say something? Can I say something to you?
I don't know. Can I just finish a little bit? I'm just saying. A child.
No. May I say something to you though? May I say something to you?
What do you want to say?
You said that we're adults. Is that a true statement, or are you being facetious?
I am assuming, and I hope I'm assuming correctly, that we are at least 18 plus.
I just want to make sure, because I can tell you, Meg, I've been on this app for a while, and I don't think that everybody, chronologically, they may be age of adult. But I don't know if the way we talk to each other, like you said it, she talked about her daughter. I think adults would have recognized that. That's just saying.
Well, I mean, I was presenting logic, though. How is Pepe saying it in a defensive way to people on this app any way similar to somebody saying it to her daughter? How is that? Why was that the what it was is she brought it up as a shield to emotional and bait you into.
I'm trying to understand that.
Well, how is Pepe saying it on this app related to somebody saying it to her daughter?
Triggered.
I don't.
If you were paying attention, I said I get triggered.
Well, it's a shield that you're trying to use. You're trying to make an emotional, personal shield.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I need you to sit down.
At first, I did
Sit down,
think it as like this is emotional blackmail. Like, why is she trying to tie this in? But then she's saying it triggers her, and it's triggering her because of the experience with their daughter. So logically, that makes sense. So that's where I said I'm sorry. I would never go up to like a person or let alone a little girl. I mean that really sucks because kids don't really know how to take that shit, and they can take it really hard. And I really do feel bad for your daughter. I don't think she should be emotionally abused like that. I
don't think it's necessary for any. I don't think we have to say that we all feel that way. I think it's implied that we all know it's not okay to say that to a little girl. And there's no reason for us to be blackmailed into expressing so because to make her feel better. I just don't see the reason.
I'm not asking for your sympathy. Okay? You get that straight.
You're right. You weren't asking. You were demanding it. You were using the story as a bludgeon to demand empathy from it. I need to be what? What was that? What'd you say?
Okay, hold on, President. Hold on, black girl, President, hold on. Guys, listen, President, I don't want to have to put you down, but I think right now you are actually doing something. It's a fault line, okay? You don't know anybody's motivation. You don't know black girl's motivation or why she chooses to do whatever, okay? But she has a choice to say that she did not like it being spoken to her daughter, okay? You can say whatever you like, but let's make sure that all of us are trying to make sure that we're not causing insult to injury because we personally don't like it. And she did call you out already because you used the word, the N-word with her. And that's
that's not me she's talking about. She's talking about Pepe there.
Pepe, yeah. But
and she's saying that Pepe's saying that on this app is similar to the situation there. Again, it's emotional blackmail.
Well, no,
what it is.
No, she didn't say that.
Once again,
she didn't say that.
Basically what she's saying is she doesn't appreciate the word for herself. And then she just wanted to give a story about her daughters. It's really not as big as we're making it. Let's just let it.
I know. I do want to apologize because
just let her have her submission. This room is.
Well, I want to apologize to Edward specifically because I hold the opposite ideology. Where you seem to be preaching like peace, I preach chaos, and I like chaos.
No, that's why you're not fitting in too well. But it's okay. It's fine. but let's just say like today is the one of these rooms where it's just peaceful. We just get it out. You know what I mean? And then we leave it.
Bow wow, bow wow. I'm in Boca Vista at the retirement center.
Hold on, Progressive. I just want to say that also black women in poverty,
oh, it's one of those serious rooms.
Because a lot of those murder suicides go back to mental abuse, anxiety, and stuff, and it is abuse
Hear a word of hate. Now, adults shouldn't be hearing this either. This word shouldn't be said to people on this app either. However, we can leave. It also it's a different place when it's a child who should not have that hurt before they even fully understand what is behind that. And okay, their first thought is it's me. What's wrong with me? That's not okay. No. We're all adults and we choose to be on this, and if we don't like it, we can. So I mean, it's not great when people say it on this app, but you don't say it to a child. Also, children are going to blame themselves. That's just a huge thing. I mean, President, you cannot ever convince me that it is okay to say it to a child.
Yeah. Okay. See, here's the point. That's exactly what I'm going with. This is what I mean right there. You're saying if I don't say what you want me to, then I am somehow supporting saying it to a child, and that is not at all what I've said the entire time.
I'm just.
And that's the entire idea of emotional blackmail that you're attempting.
I'm not emotionally blackmailing you, President.
No, you just implied that I support saying the N-word to a child because I didn't agree and say the statement that you demand I say. Do you not see the problem?
I'm not demanding. I'm not demanding that you make a statement at all. I am just saying that I don't appreciate it when it's said in this room. However, we're all over the age of 18. We're technically adults. I think people have heard it before. They can cope with. But yes, I still think that if your child has been called that, you've seen the upset, you've seen the hurt in her eyes. She doesn't understand that it's the problem is with the person saying that. She thinks it's herself. Like children should not feel that way or hear that.
But who are you trying to convince of this? Who is disagreeing with what you're saying?
I'm kind of just saying with this room is that I can completely. I'm trying to.
I mean, is there anybody that's disagreeing, saying that it's okay to call a black child the N-word?
No,
is there anybody who said that?
What I'm saying is that when blacks...
Then what you're doing is emotional blackmail. You want me to make a statement, but I'm not going to do it.
That is absolutely... I can actually absolutely see why. Because her child is called something that is absolutely fucking inappropriate. I think we all agree that calling a child that is just... You don't go there. You give a child a childhood. And if you
it's so known that we don't even need to say it. So demanding I say it, and then saying because I don't, that I somehow support it, that's emotional blackmail. That's what you're attempting.
President, I'm sorry, but if somehow that's what you heard, that is not at all what I intended to say. So maybe I was interrupted, but that is not.
No, I mean, you keep saying how it's bad. We all know it's bad. So who are you trying to convince that it's bad? Is there somebody that thinks it's good?
President, hold on.
I'm not policing your speech. President.
Okay, Meg, 1 second. Let me just end this so we can move on, because I'm going to tell you guys, and Black said it very well. It happened to her daughter. I don't think any child should hear it, especially someone that we all participate with on this. That's number one. And we don't have to go back and forth of what we hear or not hear. I've learned this a long time ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody. Do we see the world as we are, or do we see the world as it is? It's a question.
As we are.
Exactly. And sometimes we don't realize that. I like Sherry, she said as it is. No, it's as we are. See, Edward sees the world as he is. So that's why I'm not a person who wants to come in a room and cause chaos. Because I'm at peace in life. I'm not trying to beat anybody up. I'm not trying to get to someone else. That's what I understand this. And it's very unfortunate. And I don't know why, because, and I say this over and over, are we going to be people of character, or are we going to live life as characters? And I really mean that. Way too many of us, and we're all supposed to be adults. That's what we say. We're 18 years old. We get to choose to be in these spaces, right? Okay? Because there's sometimes, if President Trump's room not on here, I don't come on this app. Because you know why? I used to do rooms. There's some people, I used to do rooms every morning for almost a year on Clubhouse. But they were in the morning because, I didn't want the chaos. And we had some great rooms. We talked about family. We talked about responsibility. We talked about government. We talked about all kinds of stuff. But you know what? One thing I've learned, individual peace is important. One thing I've learned is that everybody, that's why I said trigger warnings. Trigger warnings for me is important. Okay? I knew that fault lines are going to bring some stuff out. I know that. Because people today have what I call their own sacred cow. And one of the sacred cows is the N-word. I don't think, for me, I'm not going to use it ever. Okay, and I taught my children not to use it. And I tell them, if someone call them that, you're not that. Okay, that's just me. I teach my grandchildren the same thing. Okay, at the end of the day, we all got to realize, am I going to speak kindly to someone else? Or am I going to speak negative because I want to be provocative? So, again, Meg, all of you, Wallace, D-Ma, I see you guys. I appreciate you, Black. Thank you for sharing. Guys, I don't know. Why don't you guys share with Edward? How has this particular fault line room been? Could you guys tell me how the house been?
It's been good. Some of us, like me, I look at things differently, but it's your room, and I'm curious. I will say you're a very well-rounded man. Who I would say, I think you're the type of person, most of us on here, in fact, I'll just go ahead and say it because I actually believe this. You're probably the one man in the room where, like, if we're like, oh my God, like, you watch your kid, or, if we had to trust you with something, you're probably, more than any of us on here, especially myself, you just seem like a very nice, reasonable, loving guy, and that is good, and honest. And, I think it's helpful to kind of look at your worldview, because it seems like you've lived the straight and narrow, and like I said, you seem like a really good person. So yeah, it's been interesting.
One thing I want to mention is it's pretty much a very conservative kind of viewpoint. So we don't hear like the true, like pure conservative on this app, because there's actually there's very few if you think about it, So I just wanted to point that out to people. Sorry, I'm on the treadmill.
I think that about order. You can manage the room very efficiently. I feel that. This is different. This is very good.
Yeah, thank you, Peter, and I appreciate your response today for defending your country, because I think that people should defend their country versus people talking about other countries and they never even been there, which is kind of crazy to me. I've been to 54 countries. I'm still not going to defend those countries because I really don't know everything about their leadership, their language, or their government. So go ahead,
I was going to continue what you said. You also don't know the bad guys. We know our bad guys are here. That's why you shouldn't fight that country, because the bad guys are the bad guys. You know who you're fighting against. The Iranians, for example, you don't know those people. You don't know what they're capable of, what they'll do.
Go ahead. Anyone else want to share what you guys think about? Because we're going to be bringing more fault line rooms. Like we're going to do one on politics. We're going to do one on culture. We're going to do one on relationships. Why is marriage so frowned upon? I mean, it's so crazy, some of the stuff that I hear. And why do we do not like male headship? I think women want a strong, masculine man. And why are we wanting to get away from that? I'm going to also do a fault line on this one, guys. Affirming gender care. Are we affirming our children to be something that they're not? I don't believe that that's real. That's a fault line that we have in our society that no one wants to talk about. None of our children should be mutilated.
I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that right there. I was going to drop something else, but I want to talk about that right there. Are you for gender affirming care?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
There's no such
person.
There's no such thing. I do not believe that a biological male or biological female ever transitioned to anything, because they are still what they are. And I deal with it on a very heavy issue, because I'm in death care, guys, and I can tell you the psychological damage that this happened. We'll do a trigger room, trigger warnings. What is affirming care, or can men
get triggered by that?
With the Boy Scout people, I would consider the Boy Scouts gender affirming care for boys.
Well, that sounds retarded. Listen, anyway.
No. It affirms that they are boys. They're born boys. You can affirm. You can do gender affirming care, but you can do it correctly, which is the normal way. A boy is a boy, a girl is a girl.
My whole thing about you guys, you got to be soulless and you got to be godless to go and sit and think that you could change the gender of what God made you. What are you talking about?
I think you're getting.
Thrilled with this, I'm lost of the light. Oh man, my man, come careering out of the night of Pan, Iopan. Come over the sea from Sicily and from Arcady, roaming as Bacchus with fawns and pards and nymphs and satyrs for thy gods on a milk white ass. Come over the sea to me. Come with Apollo in bridal dress.